You know what? Just to let your viewers know, I am the mother to one amazing young man. I only had one because it hurt really bad. So I was like, I'm cool.
So what up, young scholars? It's your boy, the extra large professor. And, we are representing right now the Fatherhood ChopUp. And with the Fatherhood ChopUp, this is where I talk to dads as well as YouTubers and people who use social media to change the narrative of what we know as a fatherhood and that sort of thing. So this special guest that I'm about to bring or introduce to you guys hails out of Las Vegas, Nevada. She is a dynamic creator of content, whether that be content of comedy, whether that be on pop culture or fashion, or whether that be on elements of fatherhood. She is just amazing. And as a sister, most of the time I hear brothers in the barbershop all the time saying, these sisters don't understand us, and they talk about baby mama drama and all of that good stuff. This woman right here is using her time, her platform to make life better for us as men. And I am truly honored today to have Brenda Brown, aka the chocolate child of Daddies Matter Too. So let me give it up. All right. Super
Hey, everybody.
I'm so excited to have you on here. So, like I said, it's called the Fatherhood ChopUp. So, I just want to jump right into it. And if you would, please tell the audience a little bit about what was your fatherhood experience like?
Well, I guess you guys will get this first exclusive. My fatherhood could have been so messed up. Okay, so bio dad, he decided that he didn't know if I was his or not or whatever. But my mom married an amazing man when I was at the age of 6, and I mean magic. So my experience from 6 and beyond up until now has been nothing but amazing. And so therefore the first 6 years didn't even seem to matter because it's just been nothing but, you know, memories, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, up, down, but still my daddy memories. So it's been good for me.
Okay, well, that's dope. And I just want to go into how do you think that experience with your dad shaped who you became as a mother to a son?
You know what? Just to let your viewers know, I am the mother to one amazing young man. I only had one because it hurt really bad. So I was like, I'm cool. I'm cool on, this other thing. But since he's a boy and, all of that stuff, I'm cool. But I think the way that it shaped me was there was one thing when he was born that I was not going to have not happen. And that was to have his father signature, not just his name, but the signature on his birth certificate. I
Mm.
didn't care if we were together. I didn't care if we were apart. I didn't care if he was going to be a great dad. I didn't know. All I knew is that I wanted that bloodline. Um, I wanted that hint for my son whenever he got older to be able to look at his documentation of being here and know where he came from.
Black dads and black moms have been actually kind of viewed as like the Crips and Bloods. And when it comes to parenthood, what made you decide to create your platform, Daddies Matter Too? And, why? And, and that sort of thing.
Well, weird enough, this is going to be the funniest story. Me and my mom, we were watching something called Paternity Court. And right, you know this
Right,
one.
with
Okay.
Lauren Lake.
Lauren Lake. Woo woo. Okay. So we were watching it and she was just being so hard on the father. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait a minute, and I started getting upset because I'm like, we as women, we have to take our responsibility for the bad choices we make. Okay.
Mm. Wow.
We are the first starters of the bad choice. It can't get anywhere unless we, buy into the bad choice. So I started to watch it and I don't know, me and my mom started to argue about the dad and I don't know, it was weird. It was crazy. And we started to argue about him. And then I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to change something. And my mom looked at me. For all your viewers out there, is this a cursing show?
Oh
Can I?
yeah.
Okay. I
See, watch
kid you
this.
not.
Everybody can't
Quote,
get it. No, no, go right ahead.
put your fingers in your ear if you don't want to hear this. But my mom said, you ain't going to change shit. That's what she told me.
Wow.
And I was like, ooh, that hurt. Okay. But then I got on Facebook, right? Facebook, whoop, whoop, and somebody entered me into this motherhood group. It was a motherhood Facebook group. And I guess because I'm a Black mom, I guess they figured I should be in this group. And this was back before you had to accept the invite, right? So that's
Mm,
how long I've been on Facebook, y'all. This
mm.
was back when you could enter people into the group without them accepting or denying. So some notification popped up and I hit it and I just started scrolling through this group. It was 100, like over 250 women.
Wow.
And it was just pages and pages and pages of disparaging comments about Black fathers. It was crazy. I got scared. I really got scared for y'all. I was like, oh hell, ooh, 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 ooh. I mean, it was the craziest thing I've ever experienced, but it was like, oh, my baby daddy, he ain't no good and he don't need to be in my kid's life. He cheated on me. He did this, he did that. I don't like him because his attitude ain't right and it should be this. And I just was thinking to myself, that's crazy.
Right.
So I found myself looking for the things that could combat that energy that I was getting from motherhood. I was like, well, that can't be true. My dad, he didn't have to. He did not have to, but he did. And I know there's got to be other people out there like that. I know my dad isn't the only one on the face of the planet that did this. So I started looking and I just found that there were less groups than there are now. Now everybody before y'all, like, I've been doing this for 2 years. Okay, so listen, okay, so this was like 4 years ago. Okay, so a lot of things have changed in fatherhood. Even Oprah's doing a show on They Call Me Dad. Okay,
Yeah.
so a lot of things have changed since this has happened, but when I looked at it, there were no groups. I think there was like two. And I just was like, okay, let me make a group for fatherhood because they're going to need a microphone. They're going to need some kind of amplification system to get through 250,000 plus women. So I was like, okay, I got the idea. So now what are you going to call it? And I'm sitting watching Lauren Lake's Paternity Court. And the thought that came to my head was daddies matter too. And I was like,
Right.
you know what? They do matter too. They
Mm.
matter just as much as anything because God only knows where I would have been if my dad hadn't have made the choice to take on me, my sister, and my mom.
That's, you know what, that's super dope. And I'll say this, it's something that it makes me think about. Shout out to the bonus dads. And I don't even want to say dad, step dads. I want to say dads that just step up. That's the title that we should give them and that sort of thing. And, and we see it's all kinds of different fatherhood. And, but I want to talk about, because you were talking about the women in these sort of Black mom groups and that sort of thing. And what would you say is the biggest stereotype or myth that these women in these groups have about Black dads?
I don't know from their point of view because there's many of them and they all have points of view, but from what I hear most of the time, the biggest stereotype is that somehow we women can become dads in the place of dads. That's the biggest stereotype.
Woo. Oh, you know what? Now you got my blood boiling, because I want to tell you this. Every time, and I'm looking straight at the camera, every time Father's Day hit, I always see moms on Facebook and Twitter that say Happy Father's Day to me too, because I'm the mother and the father. I don't care how much you do for your kid, you cannot be both. You can only play. It's like saying I play all the positions on the court. No, you play that one position, because you can't be multiple people. So you can't be the mom and the dad. But yeah, you know what, Brenda, I hear that all the time about I'm the kid's mom and their dad. And it's
You
a
can't do
struggle.
it.
It's a
It's not. It is eroding away at what fatherhood is. If, like they said, if motherhood was easy, everybody would do it.
Mhm.
If everybody could do fatherhood, they would be doing it. So
Right.
obviously it's just not a thing. And you can be the best mommy on the face of the planet. Our tagline is we're not anti-moms, we're just pro-dads. I
Mhm.
can't possibly be an anti-mom person. I am a mommy, and you've known me for a few years. You
Mhm.
know I am mommy to the hilt with mine.
Right.
And so, but that doesn't mean I'm mommy and daddy. Like I had to fill in those blanks. I had to find something to put in there to cover that, because I don't know why it stands up in the middle of the night. I don't know why you get I don't. I do not know. No woman knows that. You can read it. You can read it, right? You can
Right.
get a book and you can read it, but you don't know it for certain why it does that. The only person who knows that is somebody who went through it.
Right, right, right. It's so true. But you know what? I can't let the brothers off the hook too. I want to say, I want to, you know what? I want to ask you this: like, how can we as men who maybe if we're in unwed relationships, divorced, and that sort of thing, what advice would you give to fathers to help them to have a better relationship with the mother of their child? What would you say is the key like advice that you can give to help us to make the situations better?
Stay reasonable. But that's not just for fathers. I'm not letting fathers off the hook either. My son's father has been missing since, shoot, conception. I think once I got pregnant, he just vanished. So
Mm,
I'm not letting fatherhood off the hook, but to any person who's a parent, be reasonable, and don't allow somebody else's emotions and their actions take you off the path of what's best for your son or daughter.
wow.
Be
Yeah.
reasonable. As long as you stay reasonable and keep your common sense intact, you know, a lot of people are going to do a lot of things. You compromise in marriage, you compromise in kinship, any kind of relationship, you're going to compromise.
Right.
Don't lose that elasticity just because they cheated, or they're mentally abusive to you, or you know what, you have to remain reasonable. You are the lock and step and key for your children,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're mommy or daddy. My
Yeah.
son's father did a lot of things to me. I could have been like, no, you're your judgment ability is off. You can't think right, and I don't need you around my son, and I don't need you teaching him. But you see the key word there, my son. He's not my son. He's our son. So as being not having somebody else tell me I'm the better parent for my child, just being his parent, it doesn't matter if I'm better than the other one. I just need to be the best parent I can be and remain reasonable.
You know what? It always, and it makes me think about scholars like Jay Fagan and Rebecca Kaufman. They say like the romantic relation that oftentimes mothers equate the father-child relationship to the romantic relationship. So it's just like you were saying, if he's a terrible husband or a terrible boyfriend and that sort of thing, that automatically and sometimes in their mind feel like, oh, well, that means he's going to be a terrible dad. When it's two separate ways of thinking, it's some people that suck as boyfriends, suck as husbands, all of that kind of stuff. But yet at the same time, they can be some amazing fathers and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I just, you know what, I kind of wish we could, as a, and I don't want to say all community because I can't put the Black community in one size fit all, but I just feel in certain segments of society, I really wish that we could get past the fact that the romance doesn't impact or should not impact the parent relationship.
I wish too, and I wish that people, once you figure out what's wrong and you keep doing the same thing, that's insanity.
Right.
You say that let's just go with the white man, okay? Because this is where I've been. Okay, everybody knows that daddies matter too, not Black daddies, not Mexican daddies, not whatever. All daddies matter.
Right.
So in our situation, I wish that we would understand that now that we know what's wrong, that the system did this and that to take the fathers out of the home, to disparage Black families and to whatever. But now that we know that, let's work at not discussing what we already know, but how about let's move in a path that is the antithesis of things that we already know.
You know what? Preaching right there, because, that's one of the things I know with we as, dads, I would say as a dad of color, we, of course, we know it's historical trauma, it's traumas that's from systemic racism and that sort of thing. But when it comes down to it, we have the power now to change, and I think we could change the world through the way that we change our relationships in our families and that sort of thing.
Not we can change, change it.
Right.
You are the start. You already started. Me getting to know you through the time that I have, you figured out what went wrong and you work tirelessly to make sure that it doesn't happen with you and yours.
Yeah.
So now all we have to do is find each other. And then you have to induct the people who are drawn to that kind of fixing it. We got off track there about, I would say maybe 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. We got off track. The fatherhood thing went haywire.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 60s and 70s, if somebody said you were the dad, your name was on the birth certificate and you just had to figure it out later.
Right.
80s and 90s, somewhere, I don't know where everybody went or everybody thought that they had a choice. I think that's what happened.
Well, Michelle Alexander has it in her book, like The New Jim Crow. She said, like, what happened to the Black dads in particular is a lot of them were victims of the quote unquote war on drugs, during the Reagan era. And and then so while the black woman was being labeled as the proverbial welfare queen, the black man was labeled as deadbeat. But what we had was a lot of dead broke fathers. And as a result, and then you bring crack cocaine into the equation and the lack of economics in the community. And I have to say this,
No, you
unfortunately,
lost the lack. We lost the lack of relationship.
yeah, we
We
lost that.
the money thing is a secondary thing. We lost the relationships between us. We let somebody get in the middle. This is the black father, and this is the black mommy, and we let somebody get in the middle of our relationship. So there's
Right.
no touching. As long as we talk it out, nothing can touch us. That's why I said remain, open and honest, and communication is important. But, keep your wits about you. Don't let something get in the middle.
And you know what? And I would say this too with that 80s and 90s, because of that, a lot of people don't realize that we also had an absence of black moms in that time period too. Like the same way that our white brothers and sisters, for the most part, are being impacted by the opioids movement. That's the same way it impacted the black community when it come a black and Latino community when it came to crack cocaine. It just kind of wiped us out, and you had kids that were raising themselves or grandparents that were raising kids. And I'm a grandparent kid myself, and that sort of thing. But it's a time that we endured. It showed us our resilience, but now it's time to get it together. And I want to say this: I'm glad you brought up the point about finances should not be the only thing. I think sometimes we reduce our relationships with one another, especially when it comes to father to child, with this whole idea of money. And and it breaks my heart sometimes to see sisters that's like, well, he's not paying his child support, so I'm not going to let him see his child. You're hurting the child,
Well,
but
you're hurting two people. You're hurting the father and you're hurting the child. Now, I know getting back at him is what you want, but you have collateral damage. So, finances, my dad took us to the lake and we used to swim around at the lake. We would take bologna sandwiches and cheese sandwiches out to the park. Lorenzi State Park is a park here in the west side of Vegas. We used to go and he would buy a loaf of bread and we would feed the ducks. It's against the law now. You get charged, but back in my day, I just wanted I don't want nobody inboxing me about you can't do that now. I know that. They just passed the law that you can't feed the wild animals here in Nevada. But we used to do that, and that didn't cost a lot of money. That was free. And I remember a time when my mom and my dad, they got into like the worst fight ever. Okay, it was like a bad fight. I even got hit with a gun. It was by accident, but I got hit, right? Because I jumped in the way. And well, so my mom kicked my dad out.
mm,
She didn't stop him from coming to see us, though. She didn't
wow.
stop him from coming to pick us up and getting us and taking us to where we, would feed the ducks at the park for, $1.10. But I remember that. So I never remember a time when he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that's the relationship. It's not boiled down to money. Everybody thinks it is, but it's not. COVID should have told you that. That,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying? It's not
right.
about money. You have enough, of course, to keep yourself above water, to keep your internet on in case you want to watch TV these days. But really, it's about spending time together. Like me, getting ready to go fill my car up with gas and take my son out driving.
Mm.
That doesn't take a lot of money, because when I say fill my car up, people, I mean like $5 or $6. Okay, once he
Now, you know what, Brenda, you stay in Vegas. Where can you go with $5 of gas in Vegas?
You can go everywhere. Man, you could do it now. You can't go multiple days in a row, but you can definitely go one day and get around with $5 to $6 in gas. I'm just telling y'all. Put that on your charts.
So thanks so much. We're gonna get into like some fun stuff. So I know you've been living out into Vegas for a long time, and I also know that you're a diehard, unfortunately, cowboy or cowgirls
You
football
better
fan.
watch it before you be talking to this thing right here. That's what you're going to be talking to. Keep it up.
Okay,
Remember,
so
I got controls over my buttons too.
so I'm gonna have to hit you up with this. Who's the better team? Now, keep in mind, y'all, she's in Vegas. Raiders or Cowboys?
Cowboys. I do not like the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. I don't care. Raiders fans, Raiders Nation, I don't care. I don't like you. I like y'all. I don't like them. Um, Raiders, I think they came to Vegas because they are here now. So I have no choice. And I was born and raised here. So I ain't got no choice but to see Raiders. But the thing is, doesn't that show a lack of loyalty? They left the whole state. They didn't just move to another city. They left the whole state. So I'm just saying, I'm not down for the yeah. I take so much joy when they get beat every single time. I don't care who beat them. I don't even like the Green Bay Packers, but I like them better than I like the Raiders.
Okay, so now I'm gonna hit you up with the next question. Which coast has the best hip hop? Is it the Dirty South? Is it East Coast or West Coast? Which one has the best hip hop?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with East Coast simply because it born and bred my dear and beloved ex-husband, LL Cool J.
So I guess I can easily say who wins, Kubo D or LL. Hey, but you gotta admit, he got him on How You Like Me Now.
Oh, and I'm going back to Cali. I was like, oh, that bass line. What? The bass line alone made that song. So shout out to the East Coast for the hip hop, in my opinion.
Well, I'm gonna get you in trouble on this one. Best casino in
Uh-oh.
Vegas. Best casino in Vegas.
I think I'm gonna go with the Aria.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
like the Aria because it's pretty and it has lots of lights. And when you're coming in on a plane, you could see all the bright lights. But what they have at the Aria that they don't have uh, most places is a wall that advertises. So, like the whole half of the building is advertisements about everything. And it's so colorful and pretty. And I'm just like, wow. And it changes like every 30 seconds or a minute or so. It's very, very dope. And the views are off the charts because, oh my gosh, Vegas is a beautiful state at night.
Now you know what I love. You know what I love when I was there, and but I tell you, man, life off the strip. That's some wild stuff that goes on. So if you go to Vegas, so let me ask you, since you're a Las Vegas person, how do you guys feel about the tourists that come there? Like, what are your thoughts about the tourist people?
Well, being that I've been in Daddy's Matter too for the past 4 years, virtually, I've been doing it 3 years. I've always known more people around the United States than I've known here in my own state. I
Wow.
have had the benefit of talking to over 500 of you fathers in my
Mm.
time of being virtual, 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 at a time. You know how I do it. Don't sleep on me. So the tourism is literally like my friends coming to visit me at my house. Um, and we know that we need it because that's what we live off of. We're a city of entertainment.
Right.
But when COVID was here, we was like, y'all can stay y'all asses at home. We just saying, like, y'all ain't gotta come right now. Like, give us a minute because COVID really here in Nevada, it wasn't bad. Even when it was at its worst in New York, you know,
Mm.
when they were pulling out the refrigerated trucks and all of that stuff,
Right.
we only had like two people, too many. Okay, so keep your
Right.
hate mail. But we had two people that had passed away with 400 cases, you know, with like
Mm.
25 cases a day. When everybody got those statistics and we started getting an influx of tourists, well, we skyrocketed.
Mm. 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 So I'm gonna hit you up with one last controversial question, especially for Vegas.
Oh boy.
Better singer, Usher or NeYo?
Singer?
Better singer. Keep in mind, she's from Vegas. NeYo is from Vegas.
The better singer is definitely Usher.
What? You turning against your Vegas roots?
Well, no, the better dancer, in my opinion, is NeYo.
Okay, so better dancer. Okay, Usher got him on the singing, but NeYo
Yes.
got him on the dancing.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I love the way Usher dances and sings, no doubt.
Mhm.
But in the vocal category, because I have watched shows like The Voice, where he was a coach, so I got to hear both him and NeYo sing, right, without dancing, but just singing. And yeah, NeYo definitely better singing. But when you turn on that music, yeah, NeYo, that slide your oil to me. Let it slither down. You gotta watch that. The Wiz Live. Oh, NeYo did that.
So now, you know what? I can go on and on with you all day, but I know you got Daddy's Matter too, and you got a million other shows. But what we like to do when we end the show, we like to think about like what is in the Dad Cipher playlist. And so, with you, since you are our first mom that's gracing the show, what are you streaming? What is on your playlist that you listen to?
Okay, you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Bieber, Holy. That song, I love that song.
Okay.
Love that song. And Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
Stick With You, or Stuck With You or something like that. Her, Best Part, love that song. And the last one is John Legend and Adele.
Hmm.
And I forgot the name of the song. Sorry about that, people.
We'll look it up. I'll see if I can find it. And we'll add that on to the the Dad Cipher soundtrack. So with that in mind, this has been a super dope show. Tell the viewers where can they find you and that sort of thing if they want to check out your Facebook channels and that sort of thing. Just this is your chance to just plug everything that you got going on.
Well, you guys can catch me on Facebook. And you guys, I mean, if you friend me, you'll see me. There is Daddy's Matter 2, and that's spelled the correct way. It's just one word. Okay, so Daddy's Matter 2. It's like one word. Also, Sauce in the, like Brenda, City.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can find us over there. You also can find me just anywhere that you see comedy, anywhere that you see fatherhood. If you see this hair bow, that means I'm there. I
Oh, and her name is Brenda Brown. But for you single dads out there, don't be trying to slide in her DMs and thinking like, hey, well, she understands, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Don't be trying to, do all crazy stuff.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I am single. Do not let the married father over here tell you about me. Look, I've been single for 5 years. Don't be messing up my flow. Fathers, if you guys are good dads, now that's thing number one. And you want a woman that understands. I am definitely open for conversation. Do not let him big brother me into being single the rest of my life. I mean, I was a single mom, but I'm not trying to stay a single mom, if you get what I'm talking about. And I do like kids. I'm just saying.
Now, see, you just open up yourself to a whole floodgate of people that's going to be hitting you up on the ground, Facebook, and whatever, especially you say you like kids.
Well, I don't want to have no more. So those of you out there who already, who want kids, I'm not the girl. But if you got them already, and especially little girls, I love little girls and daddies and they little girls, that is just the cutest thing on the planet. I'm down. I'm trying to make me single for the rest of my life.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep you pure as our host and our guests, keep you pure and that sort of thing. So thank you, Brenda Brown, aka the Chocolate Child. And y'all hit up Daddy's Matter too, because it's also one of those narratives that's changing what we know about fatherhood. So again, this is the Dad Cypher. The special session is the Fatherhood ChopUp with your girl, Brenda Brown, the Chocolate Child. All right, we out. All right, let me